Okay, hello. So this is my literary strategy presentation. I was having some computer issues, so I'm doing it on my phone, so bear with me. But I'm just gonna get right into it. My four strategies that I chose. My first one is a semantic feature analysis, which is kind of a way to compare different vocabulary terms and make connections with the content and the topic. That's the one I'll be going into more detail on. My next choice was scored discussions, which is kind of a in-class discussion technique where you score people on their ability to um, engage with the discussion properly and stay on topic, and it kind of can be an ongoing gamification of in-class discussions that can get students more engaged. My next strategy is a think, write, pair, share, which is a kind of a play off of the standard think, pair, share, but with a writing element in the middle there. So students will be given a question, asked to take a few minutes to write about it, share that with their partners, and then share with the class. And the fourth strategy I picked would be a in-class debate, which would give students the opportunity to analyze a text, choose a side. Like, for example, if it was U.S. involvement in World War One, they could decide if they were for it or against it, and then we would hold an in-class debate over that. But in terms of going into more detail, my favorite one here, I'm going to talk about a semantic feature analysis, which is kind of an interesting way to get engagement and make those connections between terms that kids might not always get right away. So how this works is you kind of develop a grid system with vocabulary terms down the side, and then events or major content terms along the top, and they can put a plus or a minus if there is a connection between that vocabulary and the general idea. I'm going to show you a short example of this, and then I'll describe how I would do it. This example here is different than what I'm going to describe, but this is just to show you how it works. This is a visualization of it. So as you can see, this would be a way for students to understand the differences between recent presidents. So we can go through each president and tell if they were a Democrat or not, if they were a president during wartime, if they had served in Congress. And this way, it kind of gives students a way to visualize the information and make those connections in their mind that they might not make if they don't have a kind of visual representation in front of them. I think that this seems like a really helpful way to realize connections between events. So how I would use this is I would use this during a reading assignment. The example I had come up with was if we were doing a class on the Civil War and the events leading up to it. One of the main things we would be reading about would be the Compromise of 1850, which it allowed California to be a free state in exchange for stricter fugitive slave laws, and allowing the New Mexico and Utah territories to remain kind of a gray area. The decision is left up to the state on whether they want to have slavery or not. So it was definitely a big deal leading up to the Civil War. So what I would do in a class setting is I would pull out excerpts from this. I wouldn't have them read the entire text; it's really long. But we would pull out individual excerpts, and then I would hand out a worksheet similar to the one that I just showed you, but blank, so students could fill it in as we go over the readings. In this worksheet, I would have down the side there would be, terms like popular sovereignty, the Fugitive Slave Act, territorial expansion, things like that. And then along the top, for the connecting factors, I would have things like escalates tensions between states, pro-slavery, anti-slavery, like affects the Missouri Compromise or not. And so that way, as we go through these, we'll sit there and we'll do the reading as a class. And I'd probably do this as a shared reading exercise where we would take turns reading different sections of the compromise of the text. And then as we go along, the students would have the ability to just fill in their worksheet and put a plus or a minus next to each section so that they could understand like how it affects slavery and how it helped lead to the Civil War. And yeah, that's about it. I would probably give students some maps to go along with this to look at. I think that this technique could be used in conjunction with other techniques really well. You could do this alongside like a think pair share type thing. You could have students fill this out together or individually. So there's lots of different options and uses for this. I think personally it's something I'm going to be looking into using in my class. So yeah, that's a semantic feature analysis in a history context. It can apply to different. I've seen it apply to different contexts, but this is how I would use it in a social studies class. I know it was a little bit short on time, but that seems to be the gist of it, basic explanation. So thank you for watching, and hope you have a good summer.